So I have a couple fishing poles, and we live near the beach, so the poles I have are a little bit longer. And with the single car garage that I'm working out of for my shop, I really don't have a good place to put these poles. They're too long to just set on the ground up to the ceiling to do more of a traditional style of fishing pole rack. And so I decided to come up with something that I could hang the fishing poles on the ceiling and just reach up and put the rod end in, and then the rod tip in another area. I thought this would be probably the best option. Now I reached up and can reach about 15 inches from my ceiling without needing any kind of ladder. So I'm going to aim for it to be, I'm probably going to use a 16-inch board so that I don't have to get a ladder out every time I want to get my fishing poles. So we're going to create something on the CNC today and show you how you could design something just for a specific use for that. I have no intentions of ever selling this item, but the one nice thing about a CNC is you can use it to make life more easy for yourself. It doesn't always have to be something that's in production to sell. So we're going to dig into Carbide Create, and we're going to use my Shapeoko CNC to cut these out, and then we'll mount them to the ceiling. So I'm going to jump here on Carbide Create. Now I'm using build 778. There are some newer builds out there. I didn't really want to upgrade, so we're going to stay with 778. To start things off, I got to set up the stock size, and I know I'm going to be at about 30 inches wide and 16 high. So we'll start with that. 3/4 thick is right. Everything else looks good. So I'm going to hit OK. So this is what we're working with. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to drop a circle into here. And the radius of that circle needs to be 1. And that's going to be for the end of the rod to go into. Now, I want to probably center this. Let me check what my grid is here. My grid is a 1/2 inch. I think I want to be centered at like 1 inch above. And 1.5 inches off the end should be okay. I'm going to make an array. Now, this array, I am going to space these out at 5 inches on center. Every other one is going to be a rod end holder, and the other one's going to be a rod tip holder. So we'll have 3 of each on here, and we'll make a duplicate piece for the other end where this is going to mount so that I can alternate the ends. The reason I want to do that is if you put all the rods at the same end, the handles on the reels will end up hitting each other, and you'll have to space these out a lot more, and I don't want to take up that much space. So this is going to be the best option for that. We're going to go line, and I'm going to go off the bottom here. I'm going to come over a little and then down. And let's go maybe down to there. I'm going to come over and up. And that's kind of the look I'm going for here. Not sure I love that. Let's see if we can join these together. Because right now that'll never cut out. So let's go shift. We're going to select all these. And let's go trim. So we selected that, trim that out. Now we want to get rid of that. So now we have a complete shape here, and we should be able to cut that out. Now, when it's pink, it means something's not connected. you can go over here and hit join vectors. And now that's all one item that can be cut out. So what I want is I want that repeated here. So I'm going to delete that and here. So we can go back into the array. I'm going to select this. I'm going to go to array. And now we are going to do 3 columns and 10 inches. So what that did then is it alternated. So they were 5 before. If I left it 5, it would have done this over top of this, this over top of this. So I just had to get rid of half the columns and double the X spacing so that it would space those out correctly. So now we have what we want to cut out. So I'm going to go to tool paths. I'm going to select all of those items. I'm going to do a pocket. And the reason I'm going to do a pocket is because I don't really want to deal with tabs. So if I were to do contour, so contour would just follow the exact shape and cut the whole way down to the end. The problem with that is you have to create little tabs that hold the part you're cutting in place, or it'll bust loose and it can break your bit. So this is kind of a small area to do that. So I am going to elect to just do a pocket and cut all the material out. Now, looking at this shapes that we're cutting out, I'm sure somebody's thinking it. You could easily do this with a drill press and a bandsaw. You are 100% correct. Probably the best way to do this is with a drill press and a bandsaw, jigsaw, scroll saw, whatever it is. However, since I moved, my shop in Ohio has a bandsaw and a drill press. My shop in Florida does not have either one. So we have to make do with what we have. I do not want to try to drill those holes out with just a regular drill. I actually don't even know if I probably don't have a bit that big. And then the other thing is the shape that we're cutting out for the rod tip. I have a jigsaw, a handheld jigsaw. I don't really want to deal with it. I have a CNC. That's not hard to cut out in the CNC. It's going to be precise. It's going to look nice. I can duplicate it very easily. So I'm going to use a CNC. Plus, it gives me a chance to talk about how to do a design on your CNC. So creates a video for you guys. And but yes, I realize that this is something simple enough that you do not need a CNC for. So just throwing that out there. So let's get on with this. We're going to go pocket. Pocket cuts the entire area out. Now, this is a pretty easy cutout. We are going to use, I'm going to look around my camera tripod here. We're going to use a 1/4 inch end mill, just because it should go pretty quick and it should make, we're going to use stock bottom and I'm going to hit OK. I just thought of something. I do not want to cut into my fence right here. I should put this at the top. Because when I load this to the machine, I have a fence along the left side and I have a fence along the bottom side. And as it is now, this will cut right out to the edge and cut my fence. Not good. So I'm going to have to change the design real quick. We're going to see if we can just mirror it. Oh no, that's not what I wanted. Mirror it. And move it. Let's make sure it's centered. I'm going to group those. Make sure it's centered on the stock left to right. Okay. And let's align it to the top edge. There we go. So now we're on the top edge. I can cut off of the workpiece. Now, one thing I'll have to make sure of is I'm careful that I don't put I have these toggles that I have in my CNC. I have to make sure they're not where this cut will come out. Ah. All right. Let's leave that alone. Let's go back into here. So you can see it's going to take 4 minutes to cut out. So that's great. I think we're ready to cut. I'm going to make 2 of these, so 1 for each end, and it should be good. Let's get out to the CNC. Okay, so I did a few redesigns here. The more I looked at it, the more I thought a 30-inch piece by 15-inch piece was just way too big to hang up there. So I kind of came up with a different way to hang these up there, and we're going to cut the shapes out of a 4-inch wide piece by 30-inch long piece. And the other change I made was I modified the circle where the rod tip will go in, and so I made it more of a half circle and then come back, or not a half circle. I made it more of more than a 3/4 circle and then came back. And the reason why is, if you think of this reversed upside down, I wanted that rod tip to rest in this curve. And the way I had it before was I just had a straight line over and then down. And the more I thought about it, I thought, it's probably going to fall out of there pretty easily. I thought if you create this arc before it releases to the bottom, maybe it will stay up there and not always be falling down, especially since this is going to hang right above my CNC table. I just didn't want any issues. So we're going to go with that. I'm getting ready to cut this out right now. We're going to use a 1/4-inch bit so it goes quickly. So I'm going to use melamine board for this. Not the greatest to work with, but I don't care that much how it looks. I had a lot of pieces laying around. It was practical. Being that I don't really care that much how it looks, I more care about the function more than the aesthetics of it. I thought this will be good enough. I've never actually run the CNC on this. It might chip up this surface. Even if it does, I really don't care that much. But this could be done with any other kind of wood too. It's just, like I said, I had pieces laying around I wanted to get rid of. This pretty good use. And I've cut some other pieces out that are going to be used as support pieces. So you'll see once this is done exactly how this is going to come together. Finished cutting out a few things. Didn't quite cut through here, which is okay. I may have had the origin point just slightly off of where it was supposed to be, which is probably why that didn't happen. It also missed it here and here, and it also didn't quite get through in these spots right here. I think I can fix that with just like a knife. It's really close. It feels like it just didn't get through the outer veneer layer. So I'll trim that up and it should be pretty good. Alright, so I'm going to try just cutting inside of this with a knife. Again, I don't care that much about how this looks. I mean, I don't want it to look like garbage, but see about just scoring it with a knife. And there we go. So now I can probably just go along this edge, just clean it up a little bit. that with each of these. Oh, so that one even just busted through. And I'll just take this and trim out the ends. This would actually work for all the straight edges that aren't cut. Just have to trim it out with a knife for the circle. So I could do this. If you don't have one of these tools, they are very handy, especially for like home improvement type projects. I've used mine numerous times. When I was flipping houses, this came in really handy, especially for cutting, you know, outlets out for drywall. Pretty nice little tool. Alright, so this is going to mount on here, which is then going to be turned this way, hanging from the ceiling. So, I wanted to do this in case I want to set anything on top of this. I do have like a electric pole saw that I'm not sure where to store. It's just leaning in the corner of my garage right now. So I thought this would give a good spot, a way to do this. So what I want is I'm going to mark this piece at 1 inch at both ends so I can get it right where I want it. 1 inch there. And 1 inch right here, and then I'm just going to set it in place and clamp it and screw it. Now I'm going to make the pieces that are kind of come down from the ceiling. I'm going to cut these off at 16 inches. And then we'll end up screwing it just like this. And then I also have a piece that's going to go from the top, from here over to the other one, to build in a little stability, give me a spot where I can fasten it to the ceiling. Alright, so I'm going to clamp this in place. I want to just line it up with this piece right here. And then I'm going to double check it with a square. Once I have the clamp, I'm going to run that clamp right into the cutout area. Should allow me to clamp it without too much difficulty. So I'm just going to check right here for squareness just to make sure. And everything does look good. So I'll be able to screw it in place right here. So I just discovered I made a mistake. I had this piece going this way, which I thought was right when I was putting it together, and then I realized that I want it to hang from the ceiling this way, so I can just run those rod tips up and they'll rest in here. So this will hang down like so, instead of how I had it, which was upside down. So I just took the screws out. I'm gonna do the exact same thing I just showed you. I'm just running it this way instead. So it's always good to double check what you're doing, because obviously I didn't and got in a hurry and made a mistake. So we'll clamp this in place like this. I'll screw it in. I won't bore you with it. Same process, just flipped around. So now I just got to put this support piece in. This is just going to help attach it to the wall, or to the ceiling I mean. And then I'm going to put some corner braces in here. Something else that would work would be like a 90-degree strap angled brace. I don't have any of those on hand. So for the corner bracing, I think what I'm going to do, I have these cut off pieces. I'm just going to attach them to build some strength so it doesn't rick back and forth when it's on the ceiling, and just make this whole thing stronger. So I'll put one of these on every corner. I could also do it in here if I wanted to. Actually, that might look nicer. I don't know. I'll do it one way or the other, but regardless, I'm just going to build those in just for a little extra support. There we have it. Actually, it's really sturdy. I might be able to get away with another corner braces. But that's what we came up with. It'll hang like this off the ceiling. And it's not the prettiest thing, but it will serve its purpose very well for in just a garage where I'm not trying to go for anything that looks amazing. I'm getting ready to hang this on the ceiling here. And I decided to use a cabinet screw. I had a few of them laying around. I found a few joists that I can tie to. Got one back there, and I'm going to measure about 5 feet and find one over there. But I want to put these screws in, a few of them, and just get them started, because it's going to be harder to do when it's up there. So just a little getting it started ahead kind of helps. All right, so I have 2 screws started. I'm gonna go up here and decide where I want it. I can't get too far over because I have a garage door track. So I think I'm gonna run it right along this line right here. So right in there. Move the ladder over. Don't quite have enough leverage here. Get my little stud finder off the ceiling before I forget about it. That's pretty sturdy. I don't know. I might put a third one in. So now I'm going to measure this way, find the other end, screw it up the same way, and we'll test it out. Yeah, I think we're going to go right on this where the seam is, right here. Give me a little bit of a challenge to reach this because my router table's in the way. But let's see what we can do. Now I gotta make sure it's straight before I put the next screw in. That is 70. That is not 70. 70. Alright. This is definitely good enough. I'll put the longest one up first. This is the one that was causing me the most trouble in here. I could not stand it straight up. It always had to be an angle. Kept tripping over it and just couldn't get anything done because I kept having fishing poles in the way. So once I get these out of the way, I should be able to clean the shop up a little bit better. So these two reels have large handles, so let's see if I can do it like this. So that's why we alternate it. Now I do have a shorter fishing rod that I used for freshwater. This was my biggest concern because my other ones are so long, but looks like this will be fine too. So there you have it. Now I know this isn't the most beautiful fishing pole storage. If you want, I could actually make a video where we make a nice piece that would sit inside the home. This is just practical for me. Obviously this isn't the nicest garage. It's my garage and my shop, and so I didn't care that much how it looked. If I did, I would use the hardwood. I would hit all the fasteners. I didn't want to take the money to do the hardwood or the time to hide the fasteners when it was just going to go in my garage. That's still one of the nicer things in here, even though I didn't do a perfect job on it as to aesthetics. So I hope this was helpful. You may or may not be able to make something like this. It worked for me. Like I said, I can do another video where we make a nicer one. Just drop a comment down in the comment section if you'd like me to do that, and I will come up with a design and make something cool that is more practical for that situation. So thanks for watching, and we'll catch you next time.